Hey everyone, welcome back. This is another anime review. And this was a very good anime. I was considering, it has 2 seasons, I was considering reviewing both seasons apart. But even though there is quite a bit to say, I didn't think there'd be enough to really say about each season individually to warrant doing that. So I decided to just watch both the seasons and do a review of it as a whole. This, of course, is Spice and Wolf. Now, a few years ago, I checked out episode 1 and I quit it because I felt it was extremely boring. That was back in the days when I would literally drop anime before the first episode's finished for being boring. I don't really do that anymore, ever, now. But still, though, I'm very pleased that I decided to pick the series back up again because I loved this anime, okay? And it was very unique. It's not something you usually see from an anime. Alright. Let's see here. It was directed by Takeo Takahashi and the music's by Yuji Yoshino, and season 1 was produced by Studio Imagine. Season 2 was produced by Studio Brainspace. And season 1 originally ran from January 2008 to March 26, 2008 with a total of 13 episodes. It says 12 aired, so I'm guessing the last one was like an OVA or something. Huh. Weird. Then there was an OVA in 2009, and season 2, again produced by Studio Brainspace. It originally ran from July 9th, 2009 to September 24th, 2009 with a total of 12 episodes in the end. So, total of 25 episodes technically, no, 26 episodes technically, if you count the OVA in all. So, what is Spice and Wolf about? Well, the plot is not something that you normally see in anime. I'm going to say that right now. Okay, it's not something that you normally see in anime. It basically revolves around the main character, Kraft Lawrence, who is a traveling merchant. Okay, he travels all around the world basically selling things and acquiring money for it. And it takes place a long time ago. I'm not exactly sure of the exact time period, but it does take place a long time ago where, there was still slave trading. There was still, the old style currency, so silver coins, gold coins, stuff like that. Okay, it basically takes place around that time period, although once again, I'm not sure if it actually said exactly what time period that it took place in, but that's just to give you a rough estimate of it in case you're familiar with that. I personally am not too familiar with that. Okay, but he ends up meeting a woman named Holo who ends up going on a journey with him, and she's very special because she is actually the wolf goddess of the harvest, I believe. Although she does look like a normal human girl except for her ears and her tail. Except for that, she looks like a normal human girl, except for, the fact, she can turn into a full-fledged wolf if she wants to, if she bites herself on her hand, basically. But she chooses not to do that most of the time, obviously, because people would be afraid of her. Now, the land where she came from, people worshipped her as the goddess of the harvest or something like that. But she decides to go on a journey with Lawrence, and over the course of their journey, the two of them, although they start apart, they slowly begin to get closer together until they develop feelings for one another and fall in love. And that's basically the plot. Although there's a lot more to it than just the traveling and the romance. This series does a really great job of actually teaching you a lot about those times. Not only what the people were like and what the lands were like, but also what trading, buying, and selling was like back then. Which is kind of similar to now in terms of how you determine the value of something, but I couldn't tell you the value, what their value is worth nowadays because they use, silver coins and gold coins and other stuff like that. But still, it's actually very educational in that regard, so I'd recommend this anime to anyone who's interested in that, even if they're not into anime too much. So the plot is actually quite unique. I've never seen anything like it before in anime. Okay, I really haven't. And that's something that I really enjoyed. Now, in terms of the characters, Lawrence Kraft is not one of the greatest main characters I've ever seen, but he's by no means a bad main character. He's pretty much just a traveling merchant who's looking to make money, essentially, because his dream is to open up his own shop and to basically live his life out like that. However, things don't go exactly as he planned when he meets Holo, and even at the end of the series, when he has the option to trade Holo off in some other town, and they'll pay him the money that he'll need to open up his shop, he's going to do it at first, but eventually he comes to his senses and decides, no, I'm in love with Holo and I'm not going to fucking do that. He doesn't say that in those exact words, but that's basically what it is. I do have one major issue with this series, but I'll get into that later. And Holo herself is such a joy to watch. You know, she's so cocky, she's so, like, even slightly arrogant at times. You know, she's so teasing. Like, she enjoys to tease Lawrence a lot. And even though the two of them argue a lot, you know, you can tell that they do still love each other. At least later on. Not so much at the beginning, but at least later on. Now, when I first went into this series, I thought it was going to... I went to find it because someone literally told me it was a man who falls in love with a wolf. Now, keep in mind, I didn't know that she was... Most of the time, she appeared to be mostly human in terms of looks. I did not know that at the time. But now that I know that, I don't really have any issues with it. I consider it, say, in Inuyasha, when Kagome falls in love with Inuyasha, a dog demon. You know, the only thing dog about him is his ears. In terms of Holo, the only thing wolf about her, in terms of appearance, are her ears and her tail. Which I don't really mind that at all, really, okay? Yeah, so Holo is definitely my favorite character in the series. Okay, now, those are really the only two characters in the entire series that are focused on to a great extent. Okay? There's lots of other characters in the series, but all the other characters are, like, arc exclusive for the most part, and they're only there to help advance the plot. They're never really focused on to a great extent. They're either there to help provide conflict or help to resolve conflict. But there's really only two main characters, and those are Holo and Lawrence. I really don't know which one's more of a main character than the other. I really don't think either of them are, so I'm just going to call them both the main character, because they basically are. They're both the main characters. And my favorite, of course, as I said, is Holo. So I don't really feel the need to talk about any other characters. All I'll say is that there's, like, 2 or 3 that I recall that are kind of like there to provide conflict, and then all the others that are either there to provide information, or just to be there, or to help in the conflict, including several old colleagues of Lawrence, who he ends up traveling around and meeting subsequently. Alright, but that's really all I have to say about any of the other characters. None of them are really too interesting. Although I will tell you, do not accept what these characters are at face value, because let me tell you, a lot of these other characters aren't everything they appear to be. Like, such as, for example, the first, I guess you could call him antagonist of the first of the 2 arcs of the second season. I forget what his name is, but he's basically a believer a believer in God, because, you know, back in these days there was a lot of religious stigma, okay, too, and it really shows that quite well as well. He was basically someone who wanted to take Holo's hand in marriage in the first arc of the second season, which I think lasted like 5 or 6 episodes. Alright, such as him, for example. He's not everything that he appears to be in the beginning, alright? Kind of just spoil it for you, but if you've watched my reviews for long enough, then you know I hold nothing back when it comes to spoilers. Anyways, though, So that's really all there is to say about the characters. Again, Lawrence is a pretty good character, not the best, but not the worst in terms of main characters. And Holo is my favorite character in the series. Nothing else to say about any of the other characters in the series, really. Okay, now, away from the characters, let's talk about the music of the series. The music was once again very different from normal anime music. It had a very good classical feel to it, which I'm not the type of person that normally goes out of my way to listen to at least this type of classical music. But I don't have anything against it. I actually kind of like it when I'm listening to it. When I'm like, if I'm like playing a video game or watching a movie or watching an anime or something or a TV show, okay. And I really love that they did have a lot of classical music in here. I'm not sure what country it's from, but I don't know if Japan ever in their history really had musicians that had this type of classical music, though. So I don't really think it's from Japan. It might be. I don't know. I don't know much about Japanese music except that I love Japanese music. Modern Japanese music, anyways, though. But the music is really good. There's one opening for the first season, or an opening and ending for the first season, and an opening and ending for the second season. I loved all of them, both the openings and both the endings. I thought they were all great and beautiful. Now for the animation and art. The art is very good. Nothing to really complain about, but nothing to really like praise either. The animation is a mixed bag. This comes to my first, like, a bit minor. Well, I really have two complaints with this series. The first is really minor, is that the animation isn't the greatest. And it's by no means terrible animation. In fact, there are certain scenes, especially a lot of the emotional scenes, where it's actually very good. But like 99% of fucking anime out there, when you get to the slower scenes, the animation level definitely drops, okay? Excuse me. So, there is that to say, alright? But other than that, I have no... So, getting away from the animation. Before I talk about you-know-what, and I'm sure you do know what, let's talk about the voice acting for real quick, which again is something I only do if there's a dub. I watched this entire series dub, and I really liked it. Lawrence himself is voiced by J. Michael Tatum. Holo is voiced by Brina Palencia. So yeah, it's like those are two big name dub actors right there. Not sure who dubbed it. I think it might be Funimation, maybe. Yeah, I think so. I think it was Funimation who dubbed it, probably. And I thought that the dub was very good myself. Like, the voices fit the characters, and the emotion was perfect there, I thought. So, if you're a fan of dubs, then I'd recommend watching this dubbed. If not, well, you're probably already going to watch this sub to begin with. Okay. Now, you probably think I'm going to end this review now, but nope, there's one more complaint I have with this series. And that would be the ending. Now, I'm not the type of person that thinks that a bad ending can turn a great series into total garbage, like a lot of people. I still love this anime, okay? I really do. And I really recommend it, and I'll get into recommendations at the end of this review, of course. But that ending was just really bad. Now, it wasn't a sad ending like I thought it was going to be. In fact, at the end of the series, like I said before, at the end of the series, when Lawrence is about to sell off Holo so he can get the money to open up his shop, he decides to turn against it, and the two of them are basically together at the end. But then it just ends. Keep in mind, while this happens, there is not only a fucking riot in the town that they're in, but I'm pretty sure since he's turning down the contract now, that the church is going to be after him. And Lawrence is basically at odds with this other woman. I forget what her name is, but this other woman who was originally helping him but then betrayed him. And they end it there. Keep in mind. Oh my god. Keep in mind season 2 ended back in September 4th of 2009. We're coming at close to 5 fucking years now. Keep in mind, this is Brains based, so I think it's highly doubtful that we'll ever see a sequel from them. Okay. The first season was done by Studio Imagine, but the second season was done by Studio Brainspace. So, considering it's 5 years now, I see it highly doubtful that we'll ever see a sequel, at least from them. But whoever does it, we really need a fucking season 3. We really do. Because, the ending could have been a lot worse if it ended with Holo being sold off, Lawrence getting his shop, and then it just ended. That would have been all. I personally think that would have been a million times fucking worse. But this doesn't make this a good ending. Like, we need a season 3. We really do. Did I say season 2 before? God damn it. We need a season 3. We really fucking do. Okay. That's my second complaint, which I think is a pretty major complaint of the series. However, despite that, I still really love this anime. Okay, I really did. I'm really glad that I gave it a second chance. Okay. And I'm very pleased with it. The first season I thought was really good. The second season I thought was actually better. So I definitely recommend the series if you're into like the time period that took place and everything that went on back then. I recommend it. If you're into humans falling in love with animal goddesses, then I recommend it to you as well. If you're just into good story writing, I recommend it as well, because the writing is very good and it has that perfect blend of romance, comedy, and drama. It really does. So this anime, I think, is for a lot of people. Anyways, overall, I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. See you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.